So with that, I will move us on to the first calendar of the day. Should I take this or you keep it? You keep that. The clerk will report the bill.
House file number 5246, number 3 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to state finance, establishing a tax forfeited lands settlement account, the second engrossment.
I recognize the member from Ramsey, Representative Feist.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of Chief Author Representative Dave Lislegard, I am presenting House File 5246. And we are so similar, I'm sure it'll be just like he's here presenting. In May of 2023, the United States Supreme Court found in Tyler v. Hennepin County that Minnesota's property tax forfeiture laws were unconstitutional. Specifically, the Supreme Court found that the county's keeping of excess proceeds from the sale of tax forfeited land beyond the total delinquent property taxes, costs, and fees owed was a violation of the Takings Clause. House File 5246 funds the settlement agreement approved by the Attorney General's office and counties statewide in response to lawsuits filed on behalf of those harmed by Minnesota's property tax forfeiture laws. The bill lays out an appropriation and logistics surrounding the statewide settlement after many months of deliberations between the class action plaintiffs, counties, and the state on a pathway to resolve claims and close the door on state liability. The legislation is critical in preventing continued lawsuits and financial pain for communities across the state. It represents a bipartisan agreement to make sure that no counties face financial ruin as a result of the unconstitutional laws that were crafted by the Minnesota legislature in 1935. And to emphasize, we were responsible here in the legislature in 1935 for creating the unconstitutional laws that the counties were following. I know how important it is to constituents of all representatives on the floor today, and I'm grateful that this appropriation is an appropriation that is transparent, a clear process that has been agreed to in the settlement. As we close the door on this problematic era in our tax forfeiture laws, I look forward to presenting the partner bill to House File 5246 in the near future that will bring us into a workable constitutional future for tax forfeiture in Minnesota. And with that, members, I would pause for questions.
There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Feist moves to amend House File number 5246, the second engrossment. The amendment is coded A24-0331.
I recognize Representative Feist.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a technical amendment recommended by the Revisor's Office to ensure that we have one definition of participating counties rather than two different ones. And
discussion to the amendment. Representative Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would encourage a yes vote on this amendment. Thank you.
Further discussion? There being no further discussion, all those in favor of the amendment say aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion prevails and the amendment is adopted. There's an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Jacob moves to amend House File number 5246, the second engrossment as amended. The amendment is coded A2.
I recognize the author of the amendment, the member from Winona, Representative Jacobs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So the amendment simply would require that in the state of Minnesota, when property needs to go to auction, that we would simply hire the private sector rather than doing that in-house. And what I've noticed is at the county level, many times there are situations where if we hire the private sector, things are done so much more effectively, so much more efficiently. There's reason for the private sector to be competitive with each other. So this amendment simply says that in future state of Minnesota issues that we'd use a licensed auctioneer rather than doing that in-house. But looking at really potentially the germaneness of the issue, I think I'm just going to withdraw this amendment today.
Representative Jacobs withdraws the amendment. There are no further amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 5246 as amended.
Discussion to the bill as amended. I recognize the member from Washington, Representative Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This bill is bipartisan. It's needed. It's needed very much by our counties to finally solve an issue that created a very large class action lawsuit representing about 5,300 tax forfeited properties. And as Representative Feist said, it's the first of two bills that we'll see this session that will deal with it. I want to thank Representative Feist for her leadership on this issue. She brought all the stakeholders together, including both parties and the counties and everyone else. And I think this is an excellent, excellent bill. One other thing I want to mention, I know we're going to look at, I think it's House File 4822, probably sometime next week. That's sort of the companion, the go forward. How are we going to handle this moving forward? And I know there's some concern from counties about what we do if we have properties that are costing the counties money, because in the past, frankly, they were able to use some of the excess dollars from some sales to help pay for others. And so I hope that there's discussion on that. I did talk to Representative Feist, and it may be that it's a next year thing because it's actually potentially a fund, but something we have to get done. So again, I thank you, and I urge a green vote on the bill. Thank you.
Further discussion to the bill as amended. I recognize the author, the person representing the author, the member from Ramsey, Representative Feist.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for your comments. And I'm really proud of the bipartisan effort, the true collaboration amongst all stakeholders who are impacted, to be sure that we come to a really just and workable settlement. And also looking forward to presenting the policy bill too, so that we can move forward in Minnesota. So thank you all so much for your support of this legislation. Hopefully, this is really urgent. And I guess I will just close with channeling my inner Representative Dave Lislegard, since I'm presenting on his behalf. And he and Chair Gomez have just been amazing to work with on this. So I wanted to shout out to Representative Lislegard, who unfortunately couldn't be here for this. Anyway, so I've channeled my inner Dave Lislegard and gone down a Tommy Rukavina rabbit hole, looking for the perfect quote to sum up this bill. And apparently, Representative Rukavina was known for saying, "I'm for the little fellers, not the Rockefellers." So vote green with that.
There being no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll. The chief clerk will call the names of the members voting remotely.
Carroll.
It's time to vote.
Yeah. Okay.
Carroll.
Carroll, aye.
Carroll, aye. Hewitt.
Hewitt, aye.
Hewitt, aye. Cagle.
Cagle, aye.
Cagle, aye.
The clerk will close the roll. There being 127 yeas and 0 nays, the bill is passed as amended and its title agreed to.